I don't think I've ever had writer's block when it comes to writing a sex scene, so obviously I must enjoy it. My name is Kim Cavell and I am an actor and filmmaker. I'm going to be talking about the movie that I'm currently writing, to write a sex scene. It depends on what kind of a scene it is, because sometimes it's not an enjoyable moment in the film, whatever reason that is. I'm not talking about assault, because that's not a sex scene, that's a scene of assault. But there's certain scenes that are not as enjoyable to write as others. And then there's sex scenes that are fun to write. I'm not going to pretend like it's not. Usually it's based off of reality. I mean, you wouldn't be able to write a good sex scene if you hadn't had good sex. I'm just saying. That's the truth. You write somewhat what you know. I wouldn't know how to write a sex scene between two men because I've never experienced that. It's not like I can't use my imagination for certain things, but again, the authenticity wouldn't be there and I would get a writing partner to do something like that. But it's usually a small moment taken from an encounter I may have had, and I can kind of picture how that looks, whether it's how I think that I look to them or how they look to me in a certain moment. And that image then informs the whole idea of how the scene goes down. So usually the scene doesn't involve like play for play of how I've had sex before. That would just be really fucking weird. But it is extrapolated upon an image that I have like resonated in my head. Because whether I like it or not, pretty much everything that I do, I have like little shutter images all day long. A really vivid memory of things. Whatever it is, you know, a baby laughing or something. It just like, some things just really stick with me. And that's just how my mind works. So obviously there's things that have happened that stick with me. And when they do, they get extrapolated upon in a sex scene. It's also a weird thing of you're writing a sex scene, you're in two different bodies whilst you're writing it. As much as I'm very different to Vivian, she is my character and I could probably relate to her a little bit more than Grace. For the film, I am writing from Grace's point of view. So I have to have a really deep understanding of who she is, what she desires. Sex is about a lot of things. It's about desire, it's about role play, control, revenge, lust, power, love. It's almost like I forgot that. It's about love. It's less about love in this film. It's a lot more about the other things. For the majority of the sex scenes, they play out relatively easy to imagine. There is one sex scene which is a little darker. It's not like a particularly series of books or movies that you've seen, but it is darker in the level of control and revenge that's going on, and kind of without all parties involved knowing how everyone's feeling. When I'm writing a scene, I don't think about the fact that I will be in the scene. That it just fucks you up. It's very much what's going on with these two things. It's a very out-of-body writing experience. And then once it's kind of done and check that it's in line with the story and also my morality as a filmmaker and also as an actor, what I would do and what I wouldn't do on screen. I also do take into consideration the fact that people have lives outside of film and to protect those lives as much as possible. So there's certain things that I would just never write into a film because I wouldn't. But I do. I enjoy writing a sex scene. I have a very vivid imagination. I don't think I've ever had writer's block when it comes to writing a sex scene, so obviously I must enjoy it.